On the broadcast here tonight, deadly quake. A strong earthquake strikes in the middle of the night in Italy. Tonight, the rising toll of dead and injured and the growing number of those left homeless. The honored, for the first time in 18 years, the images we're allowed to see of the homecoming of an American killed in war. Meltdown, a 25-mile-long ribbon of ice has broken at the bottom of the world, and there's a disturbing new warning about what's to come. And making a difference. Communities acting locally, not waiting for Washington for an economic boost. Nightly News begins now.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams.
Good evening. It happened in the middle of the night before some of the victims knew what it was. It turns out, the worst and deadliest earthquake in 3 decades to strike in Italy, and it shook the mountainous central region of the country. It claimed a lot of lives, and it crumbled a lot of medieval history in just seconds. As of tonight, it's believed over 150 are dead, over 1,500 injured. More than 50,000 people are feared displaced. It measured a 6.3 and was believed centered near the town of L'Aquila. That's where our own Stephanie Goss begins our reporting tonight. Stephanie, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. Well, this quake was the deadliest quake in 30 years, and its epicenter struck a town that knows only too well how much force they can have. This city has been destroyed twice before by earthquakes. It was 3:32 when the quake struck this morning. The tremor lasting just 30 seconds, but in that flash, entire blocks of buildings in L'Aquila, a 13th century fortress town, were leveled. One eyewitness said the quake sounded like a bomb going off.
Last night was like the end of the world. The building was rocking. You couldn't walk.
This man, dazed, pulled from the rubble after a 3-hour rescue effort, broke down in tears. Using bare hands to dig and ladders to carry the injured, 4,000 rescue workers are trying to reach the trapped. At least 150 people are dead and 1,500 injured, but those numbers are expected to climb as reports come in of towns and villages entirely flattened and cut off by destroyed roads. Phone and power lines are down and gas mains ruptured.
Everything is destroyed. Our house has gone.
At least tens of thousands of people are homeless, and the government is racing to set up a tent city as well as medical field clinics. With L'Aquila's main hospital damaged, medical teams are treating the injured outside. The government appealed for help from doctors and nurses across Italy. L'Aquila, 60 miles northeast of Rome, flanked by the Apennine Mountains, lies on an active earthquake fault between the Eurasian and African plates. In central Italy's Abruzzo region.
The Apennines is notorious for having destructive earthquakes, and this is not just because it's active, but also because these towns are built primarily with stones.
The area has many medieval and Renaissance castles and churches, and some have been seriously damaged. This used to be a 4-story building with as many as 50 people inside. This morning, only 3 escaped with their lives. The rest of today, these workers have been pulling out bodies. Despite the numbing cold and the heavy rain, it is a moment like this keeping the rescue workers determined. A young man, Matteo, finally freed after hours of hard work. So far, at least 60 people have been rescued, but around L'Aquila tonight, family and friends are holding vigil, Brian. They're hoping that their loved ones will be next.
Stephanie Goss in Italy for us tonight, starting off our reporting this Monday. Stephanie, thanks. President Obama expressed his condolences to the victims of this Italian earthquake from Turkey, the final stop on his overseas trip. He went to Turkey in an effort to reach out in part to the Muslim world, and speaking to that country's parliament, he declared the U.S., quote, is not and will never be at war with Islam. After first visiting the capital city of Ankara, the president is now in Istanbul, and our chief White House correspondent Chuck Todd is traveling with him. Chuck, good evening.
Good evening, Brian, from a rainy Istanbul. And what could prove to be one of the shrewder early moves in this young presidency, Mr. Obama is choosing to close his first overseas trip here in Turkey to do 2 things: elevate the country's role in the world, and 2, prove to the Muslim world that he means what he says and is pledged to reach out, and he did it in a very personal way. President Obama today paid tribute to Turkey's modern founding father, pausing to share reflections.
Merhaba asker.